Well, it's another evening of museum in Lotus with Mr. Giuseppe de Giosa we have here, right? So today is the 7th episode. As everyone knows that the collections that we sell, for instance, this white inkstone, the rings that we have, first-hand collections from the earth's carvers and then directly in your hands. But after 7th episode, I think a lot of them will understand that there are actually a lot of treasures in the gallery, privately owned by Martin himself, that are worthy of us creating this new session to talk about it, to share, and that's why I have Mr. Pino with us. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for having me again.
Laurent-Perrier champagne. There we have sponsor of Martin's art and the various shows that we do. Now in 7th episode, that means we've done 6 so far. I think 6 episodes we have gone to different countries and cultural regions. Can we recount them? First one was India.
India.
Second, we did
Tibet.
Then we did the Kerala with India as well. And then we have the Tibetan regions, the chest. The fourth one was, I forgot, what did we do the fourth one? Was it the Myanmarese sculptures? Anyway, we covered Myanmar for sure.
Yes, we touched Myanmar. Yes.
Regions.
Yes.
And then last episode we covered the Laotian region.
Laotian.
We also covered the China regions. Okay, so I see that they're employing a very wide angle today. So we have covered quite the variety of cultural regions, and each of them have their own story to tell. I think probably as the show goes on, as you are sharing, we might find that across different cultural regions and across different countries, back then, they might be sharing a lot of similarities, or they can find similarities here and there, which is quite strange, huh? I mean, how did it cross? How did it happen?
The Silk Route, possibly.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly. There was already kind of things that commerce that's going on in the past that allow it to, cross regions and then culturally influencing each other and so on. So today, if you're looking at this, you'll find that today you see that we are quite far away because we want to capture what is going on over here, and we are actually going to, politically I should say that it's China, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It's part of a Chinese thing.
Yes.
Yeah, in fact, the age of this, by then this region was really part of China.
Yes.
But it's a more unique part of China. Like this set of northern chairs that we have.
Yes.
I think there are more, people look at it and say, oh yeah, these are Chinese stuff, we can understand, see it directly. Some of them even say that they would like to have a pair of this at home because of how comfortable this is. Yes, you can, but not this pair of antiques for sure. You can have something that's, I think the workmanship they have now also can remake something like this.
I think they can,
yeah, it's possible. Yeah, so we are going to another region of China today that is less ventured, not something that once you see, oh, it's Chinese, but it's definitely a region that is of very cross-cultural, and something that we can see where all the cultures, a lot of cultures are blended together on the same piece. I like to say on the same piece of canvas.
Yes.
But what we have here, this is not canvas. What is this actually?
These are pillar rugs that we see in front of us.
Okay.
When you made the point of cross-cultural, it's a very important point and very relevant to this Ningxia carpets.
Oh, okay. We take it slower, huh? I know Mr. Giuseppe de Giosa is an expert in this, and then he has a lot of content to share, huh? We have friends with us. Some of them came to ask me is that they have to rewatch this thing several times because of things that they missed while we are actually presenting it live. We have Geraldine, Lee Arnoy, Eileen with us, Doreen Hung also watching. I think Doreen Hung, actually, she told me that she likes this program a lot.
Oh.
No stress, you should watch this, okay, we watch this to learn a lot about things that she has never heard of. There we have Amanda is here as well, Yvonne, Jewel, Priscilla, and so on. So friends with us, definitely this is a kind of a life that is a bit different. It's more informative. After you watch this, you watch 1 hour of singing songs, live that is singing songs, you feel entertained. Here, you might feel entertained, or at the same time, you walk away with more cultural knowledge. You walk away more cultured, hopefully. So, hi Laura. So here, there were 2 things that Mr. Pino said that I think need a bit of clarification.
Yes.
First, you mentioned pillar rugs.
Right.
Pillar, as in pillars that stand tall.
These carpets here that we see Actually, the presentation of tonight, it's about carpets.
Right.
3 different carpets.
Okay.
2 are pairs.
Right.
And the other one is not a pair, which we will see later.
Okay.
But what they have in common, they were all knotted in Ningxia,
Okay.
north and west part of China.
Okay, so this Ningxia place is still around today. It's about the area, it's northwestern part of China.
Yes.
It is sometimes in the past that China would say that it is in the Xiyu, that means in the, they call it the western regions.
Yes.
Less travel, it's not entirely Han Chinese there, so it's a mix of things going on. Proximity, we will say that it's close to places like Gansu and Xinjiang.
Yes.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's those regions. And please carry on.
And Inner Mongolia would be on the top. Now, when we talk about multicultural exchanges,
Yes.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Why? If we look in the world, there are 3 kind of knots for the rugs which are known. There's the Persian,
Yes.
there is the Caucasian,
Okay.
and there's the Tibetan knot.
Okay.
Why do I make this reference? Because when we look at the Ningxia knots, are basically the same knot, identical knot to Persia. Identical. This can only mean one thing to me, that they were exchanges, cultural exchanges, and therefore they could have decided for a different kind of knot in Ningxia. They
Right.
decided for the Persian knot.
So the Persian carpets, friends, you will know, I see Laura saying hi to us, because Laura and husband actually asked me about this before. We covered a bit of Persian carpets or Iranian carpets in my other show,
Yes.
the Arts Beyond Museum. Please go and watch it again and again. I think it's interesting. Yeah. So those are the knots that we're talking about. How they make carpets, be it for the wall or be it for the floor.
Yes.
So Ningxia is off Iran.
It's
quite far
Iran,
away.
Far away.
But they are connected via the Silk Road.
Absolutely.
So in Ningxia, they decided that they want to follow and the way that the Persian people were doing
The weaving.
carpets or the rugs.
The weaving.
Okay,
yes.
so this is what we have. It's a Ningxia carpet, but it's with this unique knots.
Knots.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, when we look at the structure of these carpets,
Yep.
we basically see the warp, the weft,
Okay.
okay, and in this case it's cotton, but then the knotting, and therefore the pile. The pile is what we see, okay? This is wool.
Right.
What is so special about the wools from this region, from Ningxia? If we look at the temperature, we have extreme cold during the winter. It can go as low as 20, if not even more, and they have very high temperature during the summer.
Right. There's no clouds because. Am I right? Yeah.
Now, when we think about all of that, the sheep have developed a very beautiful wool.
And thick.
And it's so thick, and also the strength of the wool would be enormous. So this is one of the regions where they had the wool, they had beautiful wool, they learned the knotting, and on top of that, they were able to make carpets of any size and
see.
for any requirement. They could make pictorial carpets like we see here tonight.
We're going to explore more of this.
And over and above making pictorial carpets, they were able to do also geometrical carpets, anything.
Right.
So when we look at geography of China with respect to the manufacturing, there were 2 main centers.
Okay.
One is Beijing,
Okay.
and the other one is Ningxia. Now, what did Beijing produce? If just we imagine, there was the emperor there. There were many imperial palaces and the Forbidden City. When you
Right.
look at the sheer size of the Forbidden City, so the manufacturing from Beijing was destined to these places. This is where Ningxia had no competitors in terms of exporting.
So we So what Mr. Pino is trying to highlight, if I'm getting it correct, is
Yes.
that things like architecture, like the Zijingchen, like the Imperial Palace, and those magnificent palaces, huge spaces, big walls, huge pillars, and they need something on it, because if not, it will just be too ugly. And that's when Ningxia comes in, because they have the power and they have the material to do huge rugs, huge carpets. And that's where they export. Probably they export to China, to Beijing itself,
Yes.
and probably export further to the West, exchange with the Persians, you know, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. So it was a center that does this in the past.
And Emperor Kangxi,
Okay.
basically in the 17th century, he traveled with his entourage to the western part of China. And when he reached there, they were presented to him the best production that Ningxia did.
Okay.
And therefore, they were presented to him carpets. Knowledgeable as he was, and being aware of the Beijing carpets, he recognized the value in terms of quality of the wood, in terms of sizes, in terms of designs.
We're talking
He-
about Kangxi Emperor.
Kangxi.
Huh?
And
Yeah.
therefore, he brought these carpets for his palaces in Beijing. So Beijing started to understand the value of Ningxia.
Right. Okay.
Now, going back to these carpets, at least the ones that we see in front of us have one factor in common. These were carpets for columns.
Okay.
So what does that mean? Before I get into this detail, I have to say that these were meant, again, for export. And they were exported to the near Tibet.
Okay.
And what would the Tibetans do with these beautiful carpets? Both of them, they would basically envelope columns of wood in temples. As I said, these are pairs. So you just need to imagine entering a temple. We would have a carpet that has a length close to 5 meters.
The one that we have here, it's close to 5 meters long.
This is close to 5 meters long.
That means that it's for a pillar that is about 5 meters
I would
long.
say even more than that, if not 6 meters. But you just imagine the effect. You enter, as I did when in 1991 I went to Tibet, and entering these beautiful monasteries, and the impact was incredible. I just felt that I was in the presence of something supernatural. The setting, imagine the walls which had been meticulously painted, and then these columns, again, that they're telling you more about Buddhism than what you know about Buddhism. And then we will see what in this blue rug is represented and what is represented
Right.
here.
But shall we take, I mean, for the sake of the idea,
Yes.
the visual idea,
Yes.
shall we take a look at one of them first?
Yes.
Perhaps a smaller, we'll start with something smaller first. So we're going to share this because we're going to show the huge one. I can be quite certain that these things you would not have ever seen in any museums in Singapore for sure. China museums, probably in Ningxia they have, because I went to Beijing Museum several times. I'm not sure they have this on display, or maybe it's just very difficult to display a huge rug that is so many meters long. Because you have to imagine, I want you to imagine, okay, whoever is online, Marilyn, Jennifer, Man Leong, Laura, Eileen, you know, imagine that this whole thing was supposed to wrap around a pillar. So if this is 3 meters, the pillar has to be like 3 point something meters.
Yes.
If this is 5 meters, the pillar has to be 5 point something meters,
Correct.
and so on. So that place of magnificence, I think the word, a bit more difficult, the word is called sublime. You have that,
Yes.
that feel. So whether you understand Buddhism or not, that's a second question. But you can feel it through the magnificence of the architecture.
Absolutely. Yes.
So this is one of them. And this is a smaller one,
yes.
am I right?
Yes.
So can we take a look? Shall we take a look
Yes.
at this? Okay. Okay, we have done. Oh, there's a whole thing here. Okay, so this is one of them, and it goes on to even higher and higher.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a pair.
Yes.
But now I'm showing this one first.
Yes.
Because not enough space. There's
But
just
you
not enough
do
space.
have the second one.
We
this
do have,
is
yeah.
very important.
We do have. What we have here, or what mastering has here, is definitely in a pair.
Yes.
But we are showing you one of them. They're supposed to be the same.
They're absolutely the same.
Okay. They're supposed to be the same. So we have here, and this is yellow background.
Yes.
Oops. Wow, it's heavy. Okay. So what is this that we should look out for?
Okay, one thing that they have in common, and then I just focus on this one.
Right.
These two rugs were made for the Tibetan market.
Okay.
And we know this by many factors, including the element here of the writing. The writing is Sanskrit, possibly,
Sanskrit.
And it would actually mean two possible things. Either the name of the donor,
Right.
which is very, very likely, or the name of the monastery. Because we need to understand that the thickness of the column would also have to be related to the width of the carpet.
Right.
So this was definitely 100% a commission work.
Okay.
Both of them are commission work. Now let's just start to describe it. This is the so-called Timenda border.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. When we look at the second border, second main border, we see the pearls. But why the pearls? Now imagine this has to go in a temple. Precious, because Buddhism is precious. And the pearls were not available in Tibet.
Okay.
Whoever has seen a pearl?
Absolutely.
Because they didn't have the ocean or the sea. So they were aware in their exchanges with China of the pearl and the beauty of the pearl. And the best possible thought was by the donor to have the weaver to design this.
I
Again,
see.
precious, beautiful. Now, just underneath these two main borders, actually there are more than
Right.
two borders, we see three faces.
Yeah. I see three faces.
And they're not pretty faces, I would
Angry
say.
faces.
They're not. But then I would say, why would they have something like this on a beautiful rug meant to envelope a column? Very easy. They're basically saying to the non-believers, you can come in, but if you go against Buddhism, I'm going to scare you.
It's a protector. It's what we call like a, in Chinese I think it's what we call like a Mingwang.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
guardians.
Yes,
All right.
yes, they're
Right.
guardians. And
Right
then
at
we
the top.
see this beautiful tassels going here. So we see something scary, but then our cells are come down because of the tassel.
Right.
Very beautifully rendered, very, very beautiful.
Okay.
I mentioned briefly about the script.
Sanskrit.
Here, Sanskrit. And then what do we see all around this lama? This is a high lama.
So there's a figure here. I'm not sure you can catch it or not. This figure, there's a human figure here,
Yes.
and it's a lama.
It's a lama. This is a
Okay.
high lama. Interestingly, the lama is surrounded by symbols. And I will touch on the symbols just very briefly.
Okay.
Around the lama, there are clouds. So basically, the elevation to the sky, making it even more rare. So
Okay.
the lama is status for the Buddhist.
Yes.
And when we actually look, the hat is the yellow hat.
I see.
Let's just touch very briefly about the yellow hat sect of Buddhism. Buddhism has various sects, but let's look at this one in particular. This would date back, this sect, to the 14th century.
Okay.
So in the 14th century, the then person responsible basically said that from that time onwards, the nuns and the monks were not supposed to get married.
Oh.
Second, what he said, no more drinking alcohol.
Oh, it's terrible.
And how terrible, yes, we're not good Buddhists. And thirdly, no eating of the meat.
Okay.
which is something absolutely fantastic. Now, what we look here at many symbols, I would just highlight a couple because we would also be able to see them in the other carpet.
So it's a recurring thing, yeah?
It's quite a recurring, and there are 8 symbols. Now, when we look here, we see the golden fish.
It's a fish.
It's a fish. Now, in many cases, what we do see that both in China, but also in Japan, I have to say, the expression of a thought is done not in writing, but through a symbolism.
Yes.
So basically what it's saying here, may the sailor go out to fish. May they fish abundantly, so this means abundance.
Okay.
May be the catch so big in order for the family of the sailors to feed themselves, but also to the point of giving it to other people who don't have it.
Right.
It's about sharing.
Right.
And that's a beautiful concept that some of us have sort of lost. Now, we have seen
the fish. We have
the
seen
fish.
the fish.
Let's also take a look at the endless knot,
Yeah.
which is wisdom and compassion.
Okay, this is what we call in Chinese a 盘缠节.
Is it?
It's like it's a 如意节. It means it's a knot of auspiciousness. It's an auspicious knot.
Right. It's the endless knot, as they call it.
Also, yeah,
endless knot. Now, we also see the Dharma here.
This.
And the Dharma has 8 spokes,
Yep.
which is basically the various passage and learning of any human being in order to reach enlightenment.
Right.
In this case, it means the recognition of Buddha. It's basically said this is the Buddha and the Buddha teachings.
Right.
Now, I will just highlight on one more, and then we will go to something else.
Okay. A total of 8 of them, right?
There are 8 of them, but here, as I was going through, I've only been able to find 7, okay, for one reason or the other. Now, what we also see here is Mount Meru.
Are we talking about the ones at the end?
Yes,
The
yes,
whole
and we can
image at
actually
the end?
hold it here.
Oh, okay.
So when we look at this Mount Meru, first of all, let's understand.
Bottom of the whole round,
yes.
huh?
The Mount Meru represents the universe, and it's not only related to Buddhism, it's related to also other religions.
Yes.
Now, around the Mount Meru, as we can see the clouds. We can see, these are the clouds.
Yes.
We can see the mountains.
The mountain.
We can see the splashes of the ocean.
Right.
Okay? Now, this is the universe.
Okay.
And the Mount Meru is the center of the universe. A very important mountain for the Buddhist, and not only again for the Buddhist. Beautiful the color. It's a sort of a saffron gold color. Not unusual, but the entire composition is absolutely fantastic. Very, very beautiful. Now, you just imagine yourself, as I imagine myself, going back to the days, 1991, when for the first one and only time I went to Tibet, entering these monasteries and be confronted by these beautiful carpets.
Yes.
Again, the ones that we're seeing tonight, although Ningxia produced both pictorial, and pictorial were mainly for the walls, or in this case, for the columns.
This is for the pillar. This is for the
is
columns.
for columns.
That means that it is going to be, the pillar is going to be huge, and this was supposed not with this. It's supposed to wrap around a column.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We've put this only for displaying purposes.
Right.
But otherwise, you need to think this being the carpet enveloping the column, and the column would be definitely in wood.
Yes.
And then there would be on the top possibly silk that would seal the top,
Or bind them together.
bind them together. In the middle there would be another one, and at the bottom.
Okay. So what you see here is really of the temples of Ningxia, the place, Tibet,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
Huge column. Just
Yes.
you have to imagine. We will try.
Yes.
We will try to exhibit this in the gallery.
Yes.
How long is this again?
This would be definitely end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century.
Okay, so 200 years old. But sorry, how long is this whole
This is over 3 meters. Over 3
3
meters.
meters.
Yes, yes.
Probably I can hang it. Probably I can try to
Yes.
find a way to hang it in this gallery,
yes.
where the Qing Dynasty chairs are maybe each. It's a pair, but I can only show you
Yes.
one today. So we can try to hang it on the sides and
Yes.
then let it drip down.
Yes.
And you can feel the full magnificence of it
Yes.
when you see it. But this, you really got to feel it.
Yes.
And with a little bit of imagination, how it was like in the temples in the past. And not like today, you know, maybe you can manufacture something like this a bit easier, but in the past it was all hand done.
This is all hand knotted, one knot after the other.
To do something that's like 3 meters, but probably about 1 meter, it's
6 months to 1 year of work.
so from Thursday onwards, hopefully you get this up, you come to the gallery and probably you can see this dripping from the galleries. The whole magnificence of it, you can feel it. Am I
One
right?
little thing that I would like to add. Tibet had its own craftsmen
Okay.
for the weaving and knotting of carpets. But why did they give this order to Ningxia? Why? They did not have the skill for something so long, okay? Plus, the quality of the wool was superior, and the knowledge that something that comes from specialized places. I mean, this goes back, the Ningxia, it's known, their weaving went back to the 16th, 17th century.
Yeah.
So they were so good at it that you could not beat them. So they wanted the best of the best for the monastery. What a
see.
beautiful way of looking at things. They wanted the best of the best.
So there was more, in short, there was more free trade than now.
Possibly.
There's more free trade than today's world. And it was actually trade that allowed these different cultures
Yes.
to come together,
To come together.
right? Yeah, so you know, I mean, Mr. Giuseppe, he talked about Tibet, getting from Ningxia. He also talked about Kangxi getting from Ningxia. Huh? For those of us who are a bit uninitiated, Kangxi is the second emperor of the Qing dynasty.
Yes.
And it's actually one of the top 4 emperors in the entire ancient China. One of the best.
Intelligent, open-minded,
Courageous.
imagination, curiosity.
Do you know that, this is a side topic, do you know that Kangxi nearly became a Catholic?
Is it?
Do you know about that?
No, I didn't.
Are you Catholic?
I am
Because
Catholic.
you're Italian.
Yes. We also
Are
believe
they-
in the Pope.
Are they Italians who are not Catholic?
Very rarely.
Chances if you bump along.
Very, very rarely.
Yeah.
Now we have foreign coming to the country, some of them establishing their own churches.
I mean, they're Protestant.
They're Protestant, but you know, we have Muslim coming over, and they want their own churches.
So if they became Italian by nationality,
They,
they were not.
They just came.
Yeah.
The country opened up. Again, let's not forget that
Yeah.
being Catholic, you tend to be very open to
Yes.
people in need.
Yeah.
And then they came, they
Then they brought
established
their own culture
themselves,
and stuff.
and as they developed and they became part and parcel of the texture of the Italian community, then they had the desire of having their own places where they could worship. And Italy was not against, has not been against it. So we do see places now as mosques.
As long as they pay their taxes. No, Kangxi nearly became a Catholic. It's a true story. It's a true historical story. That's why
I'm
he's
ignorant.
open. So,
Yes.
you know, he went to Ningxia, he saw this carpet, it's amazing carpets. He doesn't care or doesn't mind if it's not so-called like Han people who have made it. Okay, bring it back to the palace, we want the best of the best. He was learning from some Catholic fathers. I forgot which country were they
Yes.
from. Because they were the Catholic people back then, they were much more modern or advanced in terms of science, astrology, and so on. So they taught the Kangxi Emperor some stuff. And Kangxi Emperor, even though he was the emperor, he was very kept learning about this. And of course, you know, and the modern education has always been that the missionaries would spread it first,
Yes.
right? It happened
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
So the same thing was happening for China, and so definitely while they were teaching, they will teach the fathers who have definitely taught Kangxi about you know the Pope and the Catholic faith and how it works, the kind of thing. So there was an instance that they asked Kangxi would he like to be baptized as a Catholic, because that's our mission anyway. That's what the fathers are supposed to do.
Yes.
Imagine if you baptize Kangxi, it's like you hit a jackpot. You'll be doing it for the rest of the nation, you know, that kind of thing. Actually, and then at that time, Kangxi was like, why not? Sure. He felt that there's anything, just do it, yeah. And there's a contract because as like all the kings in the Europe in the past, it's they have to swear their allegiance or their loyalty to the Pope first.
Yes.
Right? So because whatever the Pope says, then you have to do. If
Yes.
not, you go to hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So if the Pope tells you that go and do that holy war, then you have to go and do it. Right? So when Kangxi heard this, because Kangxi was really his title was emperor, and he has to reign control over his vast piece of land that included Ningxia, which is very far away from Beijing. So he said that, oh, anything but this. I would not, I cannot, the only one I will answer to are the heavens.
Wow.
I cannot answer to another person that represents the heavens. If not, I will be giving my people a disadvantage.
I see.
So the contract was so close to signing the papers, they said, oh, no, thank you very much. Yeah, take it back.
Rejected.
Yeah, rejected. It was so
Rejected.
close. It was so close. Qing Empire, so close to become a Catholic country.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Since you talk about
Very
Kangxi,
interesting.
I remember this, yeah. So there we have, you see, exploring more of your Italian culture every single time we do this. So we have this one that is for the pillar. You can imagine, as I said, we try to put it in the gallery. I think it would look magnificent because we have this Masonite upstairs. We can try to hang it down. But as Mr. Pino had said that not all the carpets or rugs are entirely for the pillars. Some are
Yes.
for the walls.
Some are for the walls.
Some are for the
Yes.
walls. Yeah, I have a lot of things to say about the walls. But we
Meaning?
should look at the carpet first. Yeah.
Yes.
This is the one that is for the walls. Am I right?
This is for the
Okay,
wall. Absolutely.
I'm going to lay it here first so
Yes.
they can see the whole thing.
Yes.
Then we can actually talk about it. We don't have the, unfortunately, we don't have space. So you see, even how big our gallery is, which is quite big, we
It
don't
is
even
very
have
big.
we don't even have the space or the equipment to lay, and this is heavy actually, to display this piece of rug, wall rug.
This is a wall rug.
You see, we have this thing here. This is the whole thing. You see, this is the wall rug.
This is a wall rug. And when you consider it was meant to be a wall rug, and I identified this because when you look at the extreme parts of this rug, this border here was basically folded and it was hand stitched.
I see.
And these are the relevant hooks which will keep the rug onto a rod along the
I see.
wall.
I see. So this was for the wall then.
This was for the wall,
And this was also made in Ningxia.
made in Ningxia. So what they have in common tonight,
It's a
These-
Ningxia rug night. Yeah.
it's a Ningxia, right? Yes, absolutely. So these are not to be placed on the floor, only to be hanged. These one have a purpose and a meaning for a monastery. This is for sheer beauty.
They're all art pieces.
I
by
mean,
their own right. This This is pretty much like hanging a painting on the wall then.
you've said it.
Yeah. But this, even though you say it's Ningxia, occurs to me, I'm not sure what you're feeling over the screen, that it looks very Chinese.
But
This looks absolutely Chinese, you know.
But very much so, and after I'll describe it, I will just point at something that would let us understand that this is definitely Chinese and made for the Chinese market.
Okay.
Let's go through very quickly. What we see here, we see two borders. One is again a T-mender border. Then
Yep.
we have a second wide, tiny border.
That's right.
And this is all in anticipation of the field. This is the field. What do
Okay.
we see here in the field? We see 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cranes.
In case you lose count, what I learned about cranes, you're going to count them, count by the head. Yeah. Count the number of red spots you see. Yeah. You see whether
Now,
you can count it.
You look at the palette of the color. The palette means the various shade of the colors.
Yes.
Very muted, but the only particular color is this red crested.
Yes.
And then we would be able even to see, look how detailed this carpet is, their tongue. They are joyful, they are playful, they are in their own environment. The habitat is absolutely perfect. I see myself as being able from a little place where I can only see them and they can't see me, how natural they are in their own environment. So we see these 8 beautiful cranes. But why 8 and not 6 and not 7? We know why 8.
Okay.
8 is
But is this a Singaporean thing? Is it like for prosperity or something? Yeah.
it's longevity.
Okay, it's infinity as well. Yeah.
It's
longevity. Yeah.
longevity.
Okay.
Now, what happens that it is said that the cranes, the red cranes, and this is the biggest bird that they would have in China, also shared in Japan, would fly 1,000 years to reach the sun.
Right.
What does that mean? Indirectly, that they would live for 1,000 years in order to reach the sun. Let's go and take a look at the palette.
Okay.
Now, when we look at the palette, we see the plumage and the color of the plumage. It's totally different, one from the other. And the shades of colors are numerous. If I start to count, I would possibly be here at least for 5 minutes. Let's skip that. Let's look at the plumage along the neck and the plumage of the tails.
Yes.
Look at the details of they're just like I'm touching the feather at this point in time. I'm touching them. And each of the bird is different one from another.
Right.
To me, it looks like they're chatting together. They don't know that we are seeing them.
Yeah.
No, they're not. That's the reason why they're free. You don't see anything that would scare them. They're peaceful. They're in harmony. Now look at the legs. They look like ballerina. They're dancing at their own rhythm. How wonderful this scene is. And to me, this is almost dry pond, and they're walking and they're eating their food. All of this is also confirmed by what I would say it looks almost like a bonsai. But
Right.
Bonsai of which tree? This is what we have to think. And I'm sure the audience would be able to tell us what they think. Let me tell you what I personally see, but it's not exclusive. I see a pine tree.
Yep.
A beautiful pine tree, again, so elegant, so spontaneous. Look again at the colors. Why the pine tree? The pine tree for 2 main reasons. First of all, when we look at the pine needle, these are evergreen. And the second thing, when we see in those beautiful paintings of China that go back 300, 400 years, you would see on top of the mountains this beautiful designed trees.
Yes. Pine
And
trees.
they would take hundreds of years in order to develop.
Right.
I get now to a point which is very dear to me in describing this amazing carpet. When we looked at the script,
Okay.
I don't read Chinese, but
Right.
from the little that I've been able to study, it basically means the cranes It also means the pine trees with the concept of longevity.
It's forwards.
It's just incredible. It's touching. All of this comes out without anything being written.
I want to ask them that, I'm not sure whether they can see this. You can see here, huh? Okay. This is Chinese for sure.
Yes.
But it's more ancient script. 4 words. I wonder who can tell us what these 4 words. Don't say, please. Who can tell us what these 4 words mean? I'm going to make it nicer for everyone to see. There are 4 words. Mr. Pino has actually given a clue to this. I think those who can give 4 words, I think probably next week we might have a little gift for them. Yeah. So if you can see on the carpet, these 4 words, what 4 words are this? Oh, it's very clear. I mean, I can read it. I'm not sure whether you can read it or not. If you can read it, you can actually put it into the comments. As you see from the entire picture thing, there's crane, there's pine tree. I think you're just guessing the next of the 2 words, what they are. Because it's quite typical of Chinese paintings and Chinese art, that whatever the picture is, they will put this in. So if you can guess what these 4 words are, please type it into the comment. You will see who gets it correct. Yes. Yeah. Nicely done.
Few more little things.
Right.
I said that the pile of this rug is silk.
Yes.
Why is silk? I think this was deliberate.
Yeah.
And the reason why it was deliberate is because the shade of the colors would change under different lights. And as we see, everything seems to be changing as we just move our hands on
the words.
Absolutely, on the words, on anything. Look how beautiful it all comes. I mean, in some ways, even different from a painting where it's static.
Yes.
This is not static. This is in movement.
Right.
And so this is very, very special. Look at this green here. Look at this yellow that we can see here. I don't know if through this video people can see it as well. This would have at least 12 to 15 colors, and it's only examining attentively you can discover this. Okay, one more thing. Why was a carpet like this made, and who was it made for?
Okay.
It definitely was made for an important room in the house of aristocrats, of people of a certain wealth.
Okay.
Or if it was not for a house, it was definitely for a hall.
So, this carpet was made in Ningxia.
Yes.
Age-wise?
This would be, I would say it's 20th century, just to be safe.
100 plus years?
Yes,
100 plus years. Ningxia, but they make such a Chinese carpet, and so Chinese that it has Chinese words. You can argue that that pillar rug thing, there's a bit of different feels to it, not entirely Chinese, but this one, it's absolutely Chinese with Chinese feel. That means that, and you explained that it was meant for a hall or it's meant for a great room. Definitely one of the centerpieces. It can't be anywhere else.
Absolutely.
And silk.
Silk.
So someone went over there to commission this.
100% this is a commission. And let me tell you, I believe that this was a very important commission because in Ningxia is very known for their wool. So they must have sent the silk. The silk was then possibly dyed there.
Okay.
They gave the profile of what they wanted, and look what was made. Sorry, I would say this is a piece of art.
This is definitely a piece of art, and this is what they did in the past to actually cover their walls. We can imagine, I mean, when you look at all these collections, when we talk about the Carrera lamp, for instance, you have to imagine that how big the temple was, how big the house was. Therefore, it has the magnitude to actually house this kind of lamp. I mean, if you have a small house, what's the point, right? Yeah. You have the Indian dowry chest. You for sure that hall must be even more magnificent.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we don't have the pictures back then. There were no photographs back then. But this you can start to imagine as well. Now, this is what we have for the wall. But of course, once again, this is not for this huge carpet or wall rug. beautiful. With silk, it's not for sale, you mentioned. The thing, the connection, and what I think is interesting is that it's in Chinese we call it 不谋而合. That means that we didn't plan for it, but it connects. To decorate your wall is important, right? And to decorate your wall with something like this, I think is very efficient. I have an idea why. But today, of course, as you see the background, our background, for the past 2 episodes, I have been a bit lazy. I kept it as a peacocks, the first generation peacocks. But today, I changed it entirely to all cranes, as you can see. All cranes. And as what Mr. Pino was saying, that just like this carpet, the cranes are of different positions. In fact, these cranes, they have the same name. If you look at this, Greetings to Heaven and Enrichment of Earth, Greetings to Heaven and Enrichment of Earth,
wonderful.
Different series and different number, that's all. Because I think some of them would know that actually this came from a much longer piece, which there were 108 cranes painted by Master Yun.
Wow.
Do you know there were 3 mega paintings that were done in the ancient Chinese time? One was done in Song Dynasty.
Right.
The other was done in Ming Dynasty. Then
Yes.
there was one that was done in Qing Dynasty.
Right.
One gets longer than the other. I think the first one was about 5 meters. The second one went up to like, I forgot, 7 or 8. The last one, during Qing Dynasty, went to 11 meters. It was to show, in Chinese they call it the Qingming Shanghe Tu. It was to showcase how prosperous the front street of the capital was. That everyone was shopping, everyone was having this theater, and it gets longer and longer. So when the dynasty gets much and much prosperous, they will show, the emperor will commission it. You go and paint this huge thing to show the power and the prosperity of my kingdom, of my times. So the longest one was at 11 meters. Master Yun, he painted this 13.8 meters long painting. That piece was, I can't show it here because it's too long. It's exhibited on the Great Wall of China. And after that, Master Yun actually segmented it, painted individual parts of it, broke it down into 54 or 50 to 54, each containing 2 of the cranes.
Oh,
so these are actually segments of Master Yun's
13.8 meter.
Absolutely. If you buy all of them, you put it together, you will find the entire painting coming to life again. So these are the ones. And same, you have the cranes facing different directions. Unlike what they did in Ningxia, the head of the crane is not gold. It's not red, but it's gold.
Gold.
It's gold. And there is no crane. There's no pine.
Yes.
The plant that you see across all the paintings.
Yes.
This is peony. Peony.
Wow.
Peony means prosperity. So crane already means strength and longevity. It means that hopefully the prosperity of the person will be as long-lived as the crane.
Right.
In fact, this whole series, we just sold 2 last week.
Beautiful.
So if we really have 54, or let's say 50, 2 are sold, 48 and counting down. Because once this, he's definitely not going to paint similar things again. I don't think the artisan can create something similar. So this whole series is significant because it's part of that 108 thing. If it's sold, then it's gone. That means we are counting 50 paintings. Let's say 2 are sold, 48 left. And sorry, too long. What I meant is that people in the past, they can use this rug to actually decorate their walls. Now, today, you can use these feng shui paintings, Master Yun's feng shui paintings to decorate your walls. And why I encourage so is that, how long have you been in Singapore, Pino?
I've been in Singapore for over 22 years.
22 years. Have you moved house before?
I have moved house.
Okay.
Yes, many times.
Have you heard of stories from fellow Singaporeans?
Which one?
That, Singaporeans are typical in this manner. Okay? It's true. When you listen to this, you can see whether you are committing the same mistake or not. Whenever they move to, let's say they buy a new place, and they move there, and they're going to tell you that, I'm not going to move again. Such a hassle, I'm not going to move again. 3 years later, and you see them, say, oh, you're still staying at that place? Oh, no, I just moved. I'm not going to move again now with kids and everything is so, I'm not going to move again. That carry the place is so gorgeous, I'm not going to move. 5 years later, you ask them, they move somewhere else. It's weird, right? Yeah, it's actually quite difficult to find someone who stays in the same place for a long enough time. It's nearly that every 5 years they're going to move. And then what the government steps in to do is to make sure they don't move so often.
Yes.
Because if not, they get property prices going up too fast. The irritating thing is that, which is up to your own liking. Everyone goes into their new home with the expectation that probably they're going to stay there forever. So they did structural changes to the entire unit. For instance, they will do the entire flooring, which costs a lot of money. For instance, they will do the entire wall. And they'll have structured wall, they'll have false walls, just to make the entire place look nice. And who knows, who have guessed, probably 5 years later, or even 10 years, they move out of that place. You know what's the worst thing? The thing is that they cannot bring the changes to the floor and the changes to the wall to the new place.
Of course they can't.
So let's say you spend about 100,000 on the flooring, another 80,000 on the walls, whatever you did with that. You spend 180K of depreciation, and that's it. You cannot bring it away. You can convince yourself you're 180 years to stay in the place, or 10 years, you break it down 10 years, that means each K you depreciate by 18K. This sounds very accounts, huh? Yeah. But that's why I say that this is a much more effective way of doing things. You have the carpet, or you have Master painting there, you put it there, you move to anywhere, it goes with you. It goes with you. You don't have to do the wall again.
And what a great opportunity to buy pieces which will never be repeated.
It will never be repeated. You know, I have clients who collect a lot of art, and they will say that, okay, for instance, Picasso, well, most expensive already. You buy the original, it's like, even if you buy its prints, they can print it actually. Yes. Maybe they will print like 30 for now. But what if this 30, it all gets collected and nothing is circulating anymore? The foundation can always decide that they are going to print a bit more. It's a bit like printing money and diluting your currency.
Yes.
So maybe you're going to print 20 more. So instead of 1 to 30, now it becomes 1 to 50. And it actually goes on. It goes on. It's not even the original in the first place. So what you have for Master painting, 54, let's talk about this series. The 54 of them, each one of them, it's a different, this 2 cranes looking at you. These 2 cranes, one looking at itself, the other looking at me probably. It's entirely different. And in this entire series itself, it's already different. That's the beauty about it. Right? So, this is for the wall. We know the first one we're looking into the rock. We know we have a huge one, the highlight of the entire show tonight. That is also for the
temple.
Pillar?
It's a pillar rug.
It's a pillar rug. It's a pillar. Okay, this is for the wall. We saw this that we know. This is for the pillar rug.
Pillar rug, again for the Tibetan market, and the confirmation that it is for the Tibetan. It's quite heavy.
Wow, it's very heavy.
It's very heavy.
Okay. This is the bottom part.
This is the bottom part.
We see the same Mount Meru
Mount
again.
Meru.
Okay.
We see
this is
again.
The end. Is the end. Yeah.
It's the Mount Meru emerging from the universe.
Right.
Again, we see the same elements, which is basically the clouds. And then we also see the mountains. And then we see the splashes of water reminiscent of the ocean.
Right.
So here we have again knotted differently, but the same concept.
Okay.
Which is very dear to the Tibetans.
Right. So this is the end.
This is the end of the carpet.
Okay, I'm not sure whether we can capture the whole thing because it's like really long.
It's
this
very,
thing is 5 meters.
It's almost 5 meters, slightly less than 5 meters.
Okay, so this is the top.
Okay, this is the top. It's simpler, if you wish, than the other that we saw. Here, the thing that they have in common is basically this finishing, this end, which has the pearls.
Right.
I mentioned earlier, I shared earlier what the pearl is, something that you don't find very easily, or at all, if you wish, in Tibet. And the Tibetan were just stunned about the beauty and thinking about the use of this carpet. In a monastery, around a pillar of 5.5 meters, they wanted really to have the best they could possibly have, at least in the weaving.
Look at this.
Look at the
tassel.
look at the fierce face, like we've seen it on the other side. They're made gentle because of this wonderful number of tassels that you actually see. Look at the colors here. How many colors do we have?
It's
Amazing.
difficult to count, huh?
Amazing.
It's difficult to count how many colors it has. Yeah.
Can I tell you, this would have at least 20 colors, 20 different colors. It's all about the shades. It's all about the detail.
Right.
Now, after we see, as we have just commented a second ago, about the tassels,
Yep.
here, it's
Script.
again the script. What I think it's meant for the donation, so possibly the name of the monastery or the name of the donor. It's very likely that it is the name of the donor. So somebody who did well, or maybe a disease that was overcome, then it came the decision, this is what I'm going to do. Ningxia is going to be the place where it's going to be knotted, the best wool I can possibly find. And then they asked that the dragon, look at the dragon and look how big the dragon
huge
is.
dragon. So
Look,
every single of this, it has a center motif, M-O-T-I-F.
Yes.
The other one we saw, it was a llama.
the llama, correct.
This is huge. This is a dragon.
It's a dragon. Now, if you look as we are examining, it seems that the body is being cut.
At the
No,
side there and here.
it's not being cut. When you put it around a column, you would
Oh.
see that the dragon comes together. And so it's circulating the column.
I see. So yeah, once again, you have to use your imagination for this, huh? Because I don't even think that in today's world there's such a huge column for us to try this on.
No, there isn't.
We probably have to go to National Gallery for this. You know? I think there are huge columns. Yeah.
Possibly.
In the end, you see that this is a dragon head.
Yes.
Very lively.
Very lively.
They purposely did the teeth some more.
Yes.
Okay, and then the moustache that we have here.
Yes.
But the body of the dragon weirdly ends there, and
Yes.
it weirdly ends here. But these two parts, when you wrap it around in the
Yes.
circular thing, is
Yes.
supposed to
Yes.
join.
They join. Absolutely, they join.
Can you think about the vision that the artists have? It's ridiculous. They have to imagine how it joins.
But you see, at that time, more than today, I would say, in the creation of these carpets, they had imagination. And they had woven so many of them that they came to the conclusion, in order to better it
Right.
and to make it aesthetically very interesting, this is what they had to do. So they knew exactly, they just needed to have the measurements of the column. The column could not have been transferred
Yeah.
to Ningxia, and then they would know exactly what to do.
Right.
Now, when we look at it, we see a flaming pearl.
Yes.
So what the dragon is trying to do is trying to get the
Ah.
flaming pearl.
So we see, we see the knots, which is the thing we
end-
saw in the previous one as
Endless
well.
knot.
So this is the dragon head.
This
And
is
the dragon head and the eye
Yes.
is pointing at this
pearl.
pearl.
And this is the flaming pearl. What does the flaming pearl mean? It means enlightenment.
Right.
But what does the dragon represent? The dragon represents protection. And it represents the custodian of the Buddhism. These are the protectors.
Right.
So when last time or the time before you showed me a beautiful ring. that
My
must-
ring.
Your ring. A beautiful,
The lotus on water ring, yeah.
beautiful ring. And on the opposite side there were dragons.
Absolutely,
And in
just
the
like
center,
this.
And in the center there was again the pearl.
Yes.
How it's not coincidental. This again is something important. The two opposite dragons
Absolutely.
that we would see on the two columns.
So, okay. Now I get it. Okay. So don't forget, please remember, this is only half of it, because this is only for one pillar.
Yes.
It will never be possible. You step into any building, there's only one pillar, there will definitely be one on the left, one on the
Yes.
right? So this is one pillar, and we actually have the second one, but it's too big to show. There's also a dragon there.
It's also a dragon.
And there's also a pearl there.
Exactly the same.
Both dragons are chasing after the same pearl.
They're chasing after the same pearl. They wanted enlightenment.
Two dragons, that means that it is what we call a double dragon.
Double dragon.
Somehow it matches with what Master is doing with the ring. This is the one that is a signature. This is a reminder. On the winter solstice, we are going to use the Carrera lamp again. So if you haven't gotten your double dragon ring, it is really high time to do so. It takes time to do. Not only has Master discovered this, and Master actually connected to something, this is magnificent.
It's protection.
Yeah.
I feel that wearing that ring, it means protection.
Yes.
It's a beautiful meaning. Now,
Huge.
what else do we see here? Look at the scale of the dragon, how beautifully they are depicted. I say depicted, but I actually mean woven.
Right.
Look at the hair, the fur around the body of the dragon.
Okay.
Now, interestingly enough, when we look at the claws, let's count how many claws this has.
Claws.
It has 4. It has 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
3 in the front, 1 in the back.
Correct. Now, the imperial dragon would be the only one that has 5. So
Yes.
this is not the imperial dragon. This is the ordinary dragon, beautifully depicted. But where do the claws stand on? They stand on clouds.
Clouds.
It's almost meaning that the dragon is trying to reach the highest point in the sky. And the
Right.
clouds are supporting him going above.
Okay.
So these are the stairs. Absolutely fantastic in the representation.
This is definitely a bigger piece than the one we saw just now.
Yes.
Much bigger. That means that they probably did not belong to the same temple, same place.
No.
Okay.
Definitely they belong to the different. And as I mentioned, I believe that the yellow one is slightly older than this one.
Okay.
Now, let me say,
Okay.
what do we recognize in this flower? What flower would this be? It's the lotus.
This one that we have
This is
here.
the lotus. What does the lotus mean? It means purity. It means rebirth. It also means enlightenment.
Right.
So the concept of enlightenment is the road for the Buddhist to reach the nirvana.
I see.
So these are all concepts which are reiterated again and again. Then interesting, we see the Dharma.
Dharma. Yeah.
And again, the Dharma,
Oh, yeah, I see the Dharma
it's
here.
basically about the Buddha and the teaching. Interestingly, I also see the endless knot.
Yeah, we saw
which-
the endless knot just now.
It's beautiful. The endless knot represent wisdom and compassion.
Right. It's-
Everything. Anybody who can read this, anybody would basically be touched. Even the vase of plenty. This is the vase of plenty. This is Elixir for life, long life. It would
It's
mean.
a 保平 lah. That's what we call.
It would mean longevity. It would mean anything that is positive. So good luck, prosperity. This is what would be contained in this.
We have this here. We also have this on the previous one. There
Yes.
is the, if I'm right, so this whole set of things, other than the dragon, it's actually the 8 treasures of Buddhism.
Absolutely.
So the one that is different, of course, the size, the sheer size of it, and just now the one we saw was the Lama. This one is the protective dragon.
Yes.
This is
yes.
the thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So just imagine that this not only is unique because it's a perfect pair, I would say in immaculate condition. Look at the background. The background, which is dark blue, serves to evidence the dragon, which is yellow, saffron, gold, beautiful. And each of the 8 Buddhist symbols, you have to come, take a look, admire, and again, go curious
Yes.
and have imagination. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing which is right. Just learn from your own experience.
We would have to, we will, as I mentioned, the one that is yellow in the background, we might be able to hang it over here. So by the way it's draping down, you'll be able to feel it, feel how the texture is, and then to see it in full glory. the 8 treasures, the Lama, and so on.
Yes.
It's going to be magnificent.
Amazing, amazing. As you said,
it's very heavy.
It is heavy. It is heavy. It is definitely heavy. There's
Okay, I'm gonna lift
so
the dragon
many.
head here. Yeah.
There's so many kilos of wool.
Okay, I've done my exercise today. It is. You have to try. Okay, but not, I'm not going to leave this. This is extremely heavy. And this is Ningxia. The 3 carpets, the 3 rugs that we saw today, none of them are for the floor.
No.
All of them are for the walls. All of them are for the pillars. So it's something that, the concept is this. If it's on the floor, it's something that when you see, you look at it like this.
Yes.
Right? It's good, definitely. But if it's on the 5-meter pillar, if it's on the wall, so when people, they are looking up at the whole magnificence. The word is sublime, as I said, it's a more philosophical concept, but to be awed by it. AWE, the magnificence, you can feel it. Whether you believe in a dragon or Buddhism or not, that's a secondary question, but the key thing is that you are basked in that environment. Am I right? Yeah.
And the concept of protection. I just like
Yes.
the concept that something has been designed, if you wish. And these are all mythical animals. They're not real animals. So great imagination, and with the imagination of the animal, basically reported back to the life, be protected by something that has protected a Buddhist.
Absolutely. So, I think we have overrun.
Oh,
Which is fine because there's so much things to talk about this. To summarize, we are going to have the yellow ones, for the pillar. Somehow we're going to find a way to exhibit it in the gallery. You can come by on Thursday onwards to see it. A few reminders and announcements is that actually we are counting down 1 month countdown to winter solstice itself, 21st of December. And why is it so significant is because on that day we're going to use the Carrara lamps, which I mentioned to Mr. Giuseppe before, that there are only 91 slots to actually have your Lotus ring. Most of you all will have done the 1 or 2 dragons blessed on that day. So act fast, yeah, act fast, really. Next, yes. Anything?
anybody who's interested should act fast on these two.
Also, yeah.
They are so beautiful.
All the feng shui calligraphies and all the feng shui paintings is something you should act fast as well, because the weird habit around here is that once some people started buying something, the rest of them get sold very fast. It happens all the time.
I can see it in the room of managing director, chief executive officer, and the luck that it would bring along.
Yes, definitely, 100%. Yeah, that's okay. So next week, talking about calligraphies, is that next week is the end of November, right? So we're going to cross into December, which is going to be a hectic and crazy month for us, which you know. We're definitely still going to continue this show. But one thing for Prelude is that from next Thursday, which is the 2nd of December onwards, we are going to transform one of the galleries to focus heavily on the feng shui calligraphies that were exhibited or featured in the Art Beyond Museum series. Because as you know, till the end of the year, the feng shui calligraphies, any one of them, will still be at this current price. After 1st of January, they will double back to their original price. So I'm bringing out all the feng shui calligraphies that I have brought around the entire Singapore for Art Beyond Museum, and it'll be a great chance for you to snap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them before they go back to the original price. And they get 5 bottles of champagne, different cuvées, when they buy a piece like that.
Run, therefore. Run to buy.
Right? All right. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you, Mr. Pino. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Khan.
See a lot of things we rehearsed, a lot of things we actually never rehearsed before, so there we have it. Next Tuesday, we are going to have Museum in Lotus again. We are going to a very different region next week.
Yes.
A region that we have never gone to before.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not China. It's your favorite region. It's what? It's not Thailand, sorry. It's not Thailand. It's Japan. We're going to Japan next Tuesday. Yeah. We're going to Japan next Tuesday, huh? Because we have covered quite a lot of, we have covered not a lot, but we've covered some areas of Southeast Asia. We've covered some China.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to cover Japan next Tuesday. Japan, come on. Yeah,
Yes.
everyone likes Japan.
Yes.
Nearly everyone likes
Yes,
Japan. Okay, next Tuesday, Museum at Lotus, 7:30 the same. See you. Cheers.
Cheers. Be curious.
Yeah.